Bookworms! Today, Cassie and I are here to discuss A Court of Wings and Ruin, and we've been dying to do so. We both read this book within, well, Cassie finished it before it came out, but I read it within like 24 hours of it being released because I'm sure that all of you also did the same thing. But okay, we'll just do our intros and tell you what we're drinking, and what we're currently reading, and then we'll get into the book club questions.
Yes, I actually also realized in the opening, I just flipped through the most recent episode, and it only displays one person at a time, whereas Google Hangouts, you can see everyone. So usually when you're introducing stuff, I'm like acting all crazy and like Vanna Whiting over here, and no one sees it. So.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that.
Yeah. Well, I guess we're not going to do that anymore. So I'm currently reading My Favorite Thing is Monsters, which is a really good graphic novel. It's about this little girl who's like obsessed with horror movies and old movie monsters, and someone in her building is murdered, and it's a journal kind of detailing that. But it's really interesting. The illustrations are really gorgeous, and it's written on like lined paper as if like she's writing in a notebook, which is super fun. So it's really interesting. I highly recommend it. It took like 2 months to come from Amazon. I'm not quite sure why. It's either on super back order or it's just really hard to find.
It looks really pretty.
Yeah, it's really fun. And I'm drinking, I got a mead this time. It's from Melovino, which is like the local, I think it's New Jersey. I want to say it's our local New Jersey only meadery in the entire state. Don't quote me on that. But it's called All Night Long, which I thought was appropriate, and it is a cold brewed espresso coffee mead.
That sounds very interesting.
Yeah, it could be really good or really terrible.
We'll find out very soon. Okay. Oh, you already said what you were currently reading.
Yeah.
So I'm Kristen. I am currently reading the 4th Percy Jackson book.
Yeah.
Did you say what or why?
I never heard of it.
I am really excited because I only have I have less than 100 pages left in this one, and then I could read the next one, and then I can finally read Magnus Chase, which is essentially why I've been reading these, because I want to get there. And then for drinking, I am drinking a raspberry cider that I got from Trader Joe's. And I already know that this is delicious, so I'm very excited about that. Okay, so you did the synopsis last time, so I think it's my turn.
Aha! It's your turn to suffer!
Well, luckily this is an easy book to give a plot summary of. So obviously it goes without saying, if you haven't read A Court of Thorns and Roses and A Court of Mist and Fury, there will be major spoilers for both of those books, as well as for A Court of Wings and Ruin. So A Court of Wings and Ruin picks up right where A Court of Mist and Fury leaves off. Feyre is back in the spring court with Tamlin, but her and Rhys already have their secret wedding, so all of us know that they are actually married, and Feyre is essentially just going there to like mess things up for Tamlin. And we know that there is a huge war that's coming because there's been so much that's been going on with the King of Hybern, and they are trying to strategize how they can get all of the High Lords together in order to defeat the King of Hybern and Jurian, and keep peace in Prythian. And that's essentially the synopsis.
That was good.
Thank you. Okay, so Sarah J. Maas has said that A Court of Thorns and Roses is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. Achamoth has like Hades and Persephone's vibes, and then Ackle War is like loosely based on Snow White. So what parallels did you see between Ackle War and Snow White?
Okay, so I did not know about this until after I finished the book, because I was like, oh, it's just not based on anything. And then someone was like, oh no, it's based on Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And I was like, oh, okay, fine. I mean, I guess she wakes Rhys up from death. That happens. I guess if you don't count some people, there's 7 helpers. If you don't count Lucien, I don't know. I think it's very thinly veiled.
I thought there was a bunch of stuff.
Okay, go. You go.
So there is the poison apple that Feyre gets.
I totally missed all of that.
Yeah. So there's that. There are 7 High Lords of Prythian. So that's kind of like 7 dwarves. There's also that mirror that Feyre has to look into. Your face is so funny.
I missed all of them. Maybe if I don't know, maybe if I had known before I started, it would have been different, but I was just like, meh, it's based on nothing.
Yeah. No, there actually were more parallels than I was expecting. I didn't know until afterward either, but then when I went back and thought about it, I was like, oh, there was like a couple of elements that I do see that make sense here.
I just thought she loved apples all of a sudden. Super into apples lately.
Well. Were you disappointed that Rhysand didn't get a perspective after he was teased in the prologue?
I was kind of expecting like a little more back and forth between them. I wasn't like super upset, but it would have been kind of nice to have more than 2, especially since it was brought in at the end of ACOMAF. So I thought like, oh, maybe she's setting it up to like have like a back and forth, especially with Feyre stuck with stupid Tamlin and doing dumb things in the Spring Court.
I thought so too. I was disappointed because I really want to know what's going on in Rhys's head because I love him. But I thought like his perspective was the first one that we got. So I was like, oh, we're totally going to just swap back and forth for the whole book. And then it wasn't. It was only Feyre until the end. And then we also got Rhysand's, but it was like just not enough. I was just expecting more. And like you said, especially in the beginning when Feyre wasn't near them, and the only like inklings that we got of what was even going on in the Night Court was through the mating bond. But it was still like they were nervous to use it because they didn't want anyone else to sense it. So it like wasn't enough information. What did you think of the pacing of the story?
I thought it was really well paced. At no point, I think, did I ever want to put the book down. I don't know if that was because I just really wanted to find out what happened. But even all the battles and stuff were kind of like, here's a battle, and then we're going to slow stuff down. And here's battle, and then we're going to slow stuff down. So I appreciated that.
I agree. I was initially very worried because I thought that Feyre was probably going to spend a lot more time in the Spring Court than she did, because authors love to keep the people that love each other apart. And I was like,
least favorite thing in a final. I don't want that in the last book.
I never like that. That always like hurts me. So I was like, I'm not ready for like not being able to see them together. And then thankfully, Feyre actually ended up getting out of the Spring Court like a lot sooner than I was expecting. And once she got back to the Night Court, I was like, yes. But even when she was in the Spring Court, I felt like there were such important things happening, and I was really enjoying like everything that she was doing to just mess things up. And the way that she was like making Tamlin think that she was falling for Lucien, and like all of the things that she did to Ianthe, I was like, yes, this is so great.
I love when an evil plot comes together.
I do. What was your favorite moment of Feyre being a badass?
There were so many moments where she was just like running through murdering people and like freezing them and ripping them apart. I think I liked the more subtle stuff where she like went and, you know, visited the bone carver and like made secret arrangements and, you know, went to find the cereal and just like that kind of stuff. Like that, not necessarily like the murder and like the magic, but like more the sneaky things.
I really enjoyed when she ran into Ianthe in the woods, and then you tricked her into going into the Weaver's cabin and like had Ianthe meet her end. I was just like, yes.
I was so sad that happened off page though.
I know, but it was so cool. I mean, I feel like our imaginations were able to fill in everything. Did you like the progression of Feyre and Rhysand's relationship now that the chase is over?
I always love a good chase, but they were so cute. I did kind of miss, you know, that like, ooh, exciting, will they, won't they stuff from ACOMAF, but oh no, my babies are so happy, and that just makes me happy.
Yeah, me too. I really loved how they really like made it a point to work together as a team, and Feyre would think about like contradicting Rhysand in front of other people. She was like, oh no, like I want us to be a united front. And he was like, no, you should totally call me out on everything. Like that's why we work together, and that's like everyone should be open with each other. And I thought that was really good. But I liked that despite like feeling free to call each other out, they still were ultimately on the same side. I thought that it was really nice, like, because I feel like most books are about the chase, so I do always really enjoy when you get to see like a relationship that's already a relationship and you're not worried like that something's going to happen to break them up or whatever. Like they clearly loved each other and they're adorable.
Oh my god, I loved every part where she like made a decision he didn't agree with. He's like, but I trust you.
Yeah. So cute. Were you disappointed that Akawar was not as smutty as Akamoth?
I was a little bit disappointed. So much smuttier the last book. And I was like, we got like a few parts, but like in comparison, it was like, I missed it a little bit. Maybe probably not in future books.
Yeah, well,
we'll see.
Yeah, I was surprised because Akamoth was like overloaded with like smutty scenes, and then Akawar really wasn't. But I thought that was a smart choice because these characters are so like preoccupied with war and everything that's going on that like there wasn't enough time to wrap up all of the storylines and then like also have those scenes. Like they had little ones which were cute because it reminds you like during times of war you still need love and you still need to be happy and stuff. But there was just like so much going on that I felt like it almost wasn't even necessary because there was just so many other things to cover. Did you suspect that there was more to Jurian than we were originally led to believe?
No, that like totally took me off guard. Like it happened. I was like, my God, he's been good the whole time. Well, not the whole time, but he's like good now. And I didn't see that coming. Thought he was just going to be another evil guy.
Yeah, I also did not see that coming at all. I definitely thought that he was a terrible person and that there was no chance at all that he was like actually on the same side as everyone.
You have a lot of time to think when you're trapped as an eyeball.
Yeah. Talk about the long con, though. He really, like, convinced the King of Hybern that he was on his side for so many years.
Yeah.
Which I guess is not that much when you're immortal, but it just seems like so much time. Which ancient was the most interesting, in your opinion?
I'm still Team Amren. Does she count?
No.
No?
I'm talking about, like, the three main ones that we had in the battle.
I don't know. I want to know what's up with the, like, I still don't know what's up with the bone carver. Like, what's his deal? Like, how did he, like, why does he carve shit into bones? What does he really look like when he's not, in another form?
Yeah, that would be interesting to know.
Yeah. He was the easiest to picture, though.
Yes. Well, in Feyre's mind, anyway.
Yeah. I love that. So yeah. Cute. That
the bone carver was my favorite too. I loved that he took on the form of Feyre and Rhysand's son. I thought that was so cool. Like that definitely made it really weird for Feyre to be talking with him and like plotting with him and stuff. And I just thought that his challenge was really interesting. He was the one that wanted Feyre to get the mirror just to make sure that she was worth it before he was like, yeah, I'll come and fight for you. Because he's obviously just a really bored person that's been in prison this whole time. And he's like, I don't know, I'll make this deal with her.
I wanted her to learn something about herself before.
Yeah. What was your favorite karmic act Ianthe endured?
Probably when she had to crush her own hand with a rock repeatedly. That made me so happy. So happy.
Me too. That was so great. I didn't see that coming. I was just like waiting for Feyre to do something to her because she's so terrible. Just like she really is probably one of the worst characters ever. And I did really like the fact that Sarah J. Maas like used her as a way to talk about how like rape can't only happen to women, like it does happen to men too. And like she clearly is someone that like does not take no for an answer, and she pushes people, she doesn't listen. She's just so terrible. Just hate her.
I think Sarah J. Maas just likes having men raped.
Maybe.
Like, man, she really likes that plot point.
She just, yeah, I don't know. Were you surprised that Tamlin showed up at the High Lords meeting, and what did you think of the dynamic between all of the lords?
Okay, I totally didn't think he'd show up, but I was secretly hoping he was, because my favorite thing in books is when the couple like gets together and everyone like reacts to them getting together, and I really wanted to see what he was going to do when he saw them. I really love that. I also like that. I do not like how petty the High Lords are, but I do like that some of them are playing their own individual games, which is really interesting and sounds exhausting to do that for centuries and centuries.
Agreed.
But it's like, man, you guys have so much in common. Why can't you just be friends? Like, they just want to keep immortality interesting, I guess.
I loved that scene. Like, that was probably one of my favorite scenes in the whole book, was when all of them got together. Like you said, I thought it was so interesting that each of them had like their own motivations, but they kind of had to put things aside to work together, except for Baron, who sucks, and Tamlin also. But I loved that Tamlin was there, because I thought that it was just so nice to like see it rubbed in his face that Feyre and Rhysand were together. I was just like, yes.
And she's a high lady now.
Yes. That was also one of my favorite things. Like, I loved that, well, no, I hated that he just completely, like, ignored her, and when she would say things, like, he would just dismiss her, and then Rhys was like, you know, she's high lady, so you can't talk to her that way. And then I loved that, I think it was it the Summer Court? Was it Tarkin's wife who was like, can I be high lady?
Oh, yeah, I forget what court it was, but not Summer.
Not Summer. Was it Dawn? No, it wasn't, because that's Helion. That's going to drive me nuts now.
It was Moore's friend. I forget.
Yeah, it was Moore's friend, but it was so funny. She was like, can I be high lady?
Yeah, she's like, she gets to be high lady. What about me? And he's like, yeah, we'll talk about it.
I thought that was great, because hopefully,
not right now, dear. We're having an important discussion.
Hopefully she will pave the way for more high ladies in Prithian.
Yeah, come on.
So I thought that was really fun. And then I also really loved, I loved Helion. He was like my favorite.
Yeah, he was great.
Of the new ones. And I really enjoyed that he was like pretending to be like harsher than he was when they were at the meeting. And then after,
oh my gosh, he comes in, he's just like, so exhausting, pretending to be a dick.
Yeah. He's like, what's up? Like, day job's over. Let's have an orgy.
Like, now to the fun stuff.
Which High Lord was your favorite besides Rhysand?
Helion. He was great.
Agreed.
He's the best. I'd read a whole book about him being sassy.
I totally would too. I really hope that we're going to get like a lot more of him, because he was amazing.
Yeah.
He was definitely the best addition to the book, I think. He was the best new character that we met throughout the whole thing. Okay, let's talk about Feyre's sisters, because a lot happened there. Were you more invested in Nesta or Elaine, and why?
I am Team Elaine. I kind of saw her madness prophecy playing out the way it did, which I thought was really interesting. And I really just think it's so cute that she has a mate, and Lucien loves her so much, and I was really invested in that plot line. He just tried so hard.
I was the opposite. I was so into Nesta.
I don't like her.
You didn't like her?
I don't know. She's a little too bitchy for me.
Oh my god, I loved it. I thought it was so great. I was like, you are so cool. She just like does not care about anything. I mean, she does, but she doesn't let it show until toward the end. But she is so like apathetic to certain things. And then I just loved her and Cassian so much. And I just really want them to be mates. Like, they have to be. I wonder if like Cassian knows already that they are. And like now it's hitting her that they are. Because they were just like so perfect together. I just loved them like so much. And I think Nesta did so much to help when she didn't really want to. Like, she, like Feyre also, like didn't ask for this at all. I loved that when she was being made in the cauldron, she was like no, I don't accept this. I'm taking something from this cauldron. And that tied her so closely to it. And I thought that it was so good, like so fun to see Feyre try to convince her to talk to all of the High Lords and give them like an account of what happened to her, to try to get them to like come to their side and fight this war, because she was totally like, why should I do that? Like, what is the point of anything? And you saw this person go from like hating everything and being like, I'm not involved in anything, to almost dying for Cassian because she's so invested in these people. It was amazing.
You would like the short story at the end of the Target Asimov special edition. It's a Nesty and Cassian story. A Nesta Cassian story.
I have to read that. I did not know until I saw it on your blog. Yeah, I really thought Nesta had some character arc over the past couple of books, because in the first book I hated her. I was like, wow, she's horrible. But she really like proved herself in this book. So Sarah J. Maas has often been criticized for the lack of diversity in her novels. But in Echo War, we find out that Moore is a lesbian, and a lot of the inner court seems to be bisexual. Do you feel like that representation was forced, or did you think that it was natural?
I'm glad it was there, but there were points it felt like Hellion walks in and he's like talking, and then Rhys is like, he likes men and women. And I was like, was that really necessary? Like, you don't need to say it. Like, I know how context clues work, and I don't need everything spelled out for me. That was my favorite. Rhys was always like the High Lord of exposition. I'm like, calm down. You don't need to tell me everything. It's like, and I felt like it was a lot of that when they visited, you know, all the other High Lords came together, and it's like, and that's his male partner. And I was like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
I agree. I felt like it was a bit forced. I think it's good that she did include it, and I think that it was like largely a response to the criticism that she's gotten. It didn't necessarily feel like something that was planned, except for possibly more, but even that didn't really seem like it was. I don't know.
She's like, I have to wrap it up somehow. She's a lesbian.
Yeah. It was weird. It was weirdly done.
And she's been hiding it for hundreds and hundreds of years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because what was it? I think her reason was that she didn't want her parents to, well, first, originally she didn't want to like shame her parents, but now she can do whatever because she's not even like with them anymore. So it was just weird. It was just strange.
Also, to lead someone on for, I don't know, to lead someone on for that long when all you could say is, you know, I don't like men. The end. Even just to Azriel, like not even to come out like publicly, but just because they were so close, like they had such a close relationship. And then it made me like, I felt, I don't know, I didn't like that she like played with him so much because she would be so close to him. And then anytime that she felt like he was getting too close to her, she would sleep with someone else in order to like reinforce that they'll never be together. And I was like, you could have just told me, I don't like dudes. The end. Yeah. Everyone can go on with their lives.
So sad. So oftentimes in stories that are leading up to a war, that part, like the buildup, is usually a lot more interesting than the war itself. Did you find that to be the case with Echo War? And do you think that any of the action kind of like dragged on or lost you?
That last whole battle part was so on the edge of your seat, like can't stop reading, and that never happens. I usually hate action scenes. I can't follow them. I hate when a last book is like all battle based. I'm trying to think the last Winners trilogy. I can't remember the name. That was like so much.
That was exactly what came to my mind.
Yeah, it was so much war and battle, and it took away from everything I loved about the first two books, especially the second book.
Yeah, the second book was amazing.
That was the best one, the second one. And then the third one was kind of like, it fizzled because of all the battle stuff.
Yeah.
This one just, I don't know. I was on the edge of my seat the whole time. They were great.
I was amazed at how well the battle was done. And also each of like the small battles leading up to it, I thought like some of the things that went into those were so cool. Like when they attacked the summer court, and then they left it up to like Tarkin to decide what to do. Like the fact that he drowned them on land, I was just like, oh, like that's crazy.
Right, like everyone showed how strong and magical they were, and it was kind of crazy.
Yeah, it was like really amazing. Like they had a lot of different people that really like I don't know, shined or shone or whichever word it should be. And also like just seeing Nesta and Elaine in that battle, and everything with Amren, like it was so like it was a long scene, but it was so like well done, and I could not put it down. I was just like, even though I was sobbing hysterically through a lot of it, I was just like, I can't stop.
There's so much crap. There was like, oh, it was so good. I think I went through all the emotions during. I was like, so happy, so sad, so excited, so scared.
What did you think about the ultimate demise of the King of Hybern?
Oh my god. Okay. So I said to you, it was very like, not my daughter, you bitch. And I was just like, yes! I was like cheering when like that knife went through his neck, like in the middle, and like you thought it was all over, and then Elaine shows up like secret badass and kills him. That was great.
I enjoyed that as well, but I did feel like his death was a little bit anticlimactic. Like I felt like they built him up so much, and then
they killed him so easily.
Yeah, like these two girls who are like newly Fey and don't have any battle experience and stuff were able to like take him down, and then he just was like decapitated, and that was it.
Element of surprise.
I know. I just felt like there should be more, because he was like the main huge villain, and he just was like, I felt like he was destroyed too easily.
Okay.
What did you think of the way that Amren's storyline played out? Do you have any guesses like what she was?
Well, I know they had a joke that she was like a fire drake because she always like loved jewelry and like kind of hoarded it like a dragon.
Yeah.
I had a feeling. But I was really excited. I think before I read, I told you I think Amren is gonna die, and because she's gonna like give up herself and become her old self to like save everyone, and it did kind of happen that way, but not really. But yeah, I was so worried when I thought she was a turncoat, and I thought she was like secretly. Oh, that part killed me. I'm really glad it didn't happen.
I was like, no. As soon as you like,
and then they left it off for so long that you didn't know if it was going to be okay.
Mm-hmm. I was like, if she has been lying this whole time and she's really not on their side, and like Rhysand has trusted her for this long, and everyone like has depended on her, I was like, it's literally just going to kill everyone in the Night Court to like have trusted this person and had them so close, and then to have them be a traitor. Like I felt like my insides were just being torn apart. I was just like, this cannot be. And I also like, then it was really cool, like everything that happened with her. And like you said, I thought that she was going to sacrifice herself and go back to her old life in order to save everyone. I thought that she was like a dragon or something, but I felt like her sacrifice wasn't that huge, because like
she came back.
Not only did she come back, but she also came back as High Fae.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, like, so she still has,
you're like, what was the point?
Powers and like what, like she's still super strong. I thought even if she came back as a mortal, it still would have been more impactful.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that she came back as High Fae, I was like, I feel like this like wasn't too.
Who doesn't come back as High Fae in this series?
That's true. A lot of people do. Actually, not that one mortal queen who got like.
Oh yeah, she's dead.
Did not work out for her.
No, not doing too good.
Did you believe that Rhysand had died?
I know you and I discussed this, but I was like, no. Much like another book with a very similar like main character dies scene, the second Wrath in the Dome book, I was like, he's fine. Everything's fine. Everything's gonna be fine. And look, it was fine. But that didn't mean I wasn't super emotional when he died.
Yeah. I thought that he died. I thought so many people.
I know.
Because Sarah J. Maas just kept saying, like, someone's going to die, and then no one died, and then Rhys died, and I was like, well, this is the end. Like, he's obviously dead, but then he wasn't. But
I mean, he technically I mean, she didn't lie. Someone died.
Yeah.
It's just stupid to tease that.
Yeah, it was. What did you think about Lucien, and do you think that he earned his redemption? And what do you think about Tamlin?
Yes, yes, yes. Lucien definitely redeemed himself 100 times. Yes. He sacrificed so much. I also don't know. We didn't really get a lot of, his POV in book 2. And are you looking at Andrew?
Yeah.
I saw you like smiling like over the top of your computer. Yes, 100% redeemed. Tamlin, you have some more work to do, but I did get really weepy when he was helping bring Rhys back to life, and she was like, I'll do anything, and he's like, just be happy. That did give me a feel.
Yeah.
He's not a bad person.
He's horrible. I've always loved Lucien. He's been like one of my favorites since the first book. I was so disappointed with everything that happened with him in the second book, but I felt like he really, really earned his place in this book. And I thought that the only thing that I was disappointed about was that he went out like on that mission by himself, and I really wanted to see more of him, and then he was...
I'd say you're just sad because he left.
I am. I'm sad that he wasn't there. But it was very brave of him to do so, all by himself. I thought that was really good. I love the information that we got about how he's not actually Baron's son, because that I wanted for him is for him to be a High Lord, and he obviously wasn't going to become High Lord of the Autumn Court, but now he has the potential to be High Lord of the Dawn Court. Yes, of the Dawn Court. So I'm so happy about that. I just want him to be happy. And also I felt so bad for him with everything that was going on with Elaine, because she was clearly like not interested in him at all, and she was still hung up on her mortal fiance, and her mortal fiance treated her horribly. But now toward the end of the book, it seemed like they have a chance, and that made me really happy. So we kind of already said this, but how did you feel about the fact that Sarah J. Maas kept saying that not everyone from the Night Court will make it, and then they did?
Don't do that. Unnecessary.
I forgot to say that I still hate Tamlin. I still, at the end, despite him helping to bring Rhys back together, I still hate him.
Yeah.
He's terrible.
Totally understandable. Every time someone tells me they're Team Tamlin, I'm like,
how?
Please.
Who said that to you?
Someone a friend I used to work with at Barnes & Noble was like, I was so upset in book 2 what they did to Tamlin. I just love Tamlin, and I was like,
I have heard people say that, they're like, oh.
A lot of people are upset. They're calling it character assassination.
Yeah, but I mean, especially going back and rereading, I felt like there was so much stuff that you subtly missed when you were reading the first book, and then upon a reread, you're like, wow, he's not really that great. He does these things that are very problematic, and it can point them out much more easily now.
And she knew. It's not like Throne of Glass, where she changed allegiances because she wrote this sexy new character she liked. It was she planned from the start that Feyre and Rhys were going to end up together. That part where the Suriel is Feyre realizes when she said to stay with the High Lord, she meant Rhys in book 1.
That was
when I reread it, I was like, oh, she's not talking about Tamlin.
Same.
So don't get angry, internet. This is planned.
Yeah. Feyre realized that in this book too, and I loved that scene.
He also victim blames Feyre in book 1, so.
Oh my gosh, constantly.
Don't come at me.
He's terrible. What ship were you the most upset about not getting closure on?
Lucien and Elaine. But okay, here's my thing. I don't know if she left so many loose ends because she knows she's writing more books, and if things had been different, if there weren't more books coming. I can't hypothesize on that, but I don't know. Something tells me she left a bunch of stuff out, so she'd have more to write about.
I think so too. I I really wanted closure on Lucien and Elaine. I really wanted them to get together because I feel like both of them had such things to overcome, and I feel like Elaine, like I just want her to be happy after everything that she had to go through in this book. So that was like, I thought it was like nice that they ended up like leaving together, but I just wanted like more than that.
Yeah.
Did you think that ACOWAR was a satisfying conclusion? And was there anything lacking from ACOWAR that you missed from its predecessors?
I was happy with the way it ended for my babies.
Mm-hmm.
Anything missing? It felt like a lot of rehashing, as I know we've discussed in text messages.
Yes.
So like that was kind of sad. But we did get to see new courts.
Yes.
I can't think of anything right now.
So it bothered
Even though you gave me these questions ahead of time, I'm very well prepared better.
That's okay. It bothered me that there were some loose ends that weren't tied up. I know that there are going to be more books, so it's not technically the end, but it is technically the end of Feyre and Rhysand's story. So I guess they are tied up kind of. The one thing that I thought was missing was I thought that they would at least like announce that Feyre was like pregnant or something. Like we got.
Okay. I thought they were going to have a flash forward.
Yeah, I felt like something was going to happen because I feel like, I mean, we know that they have a potential son going on, and they will need an heir for the Night Court. So I thought that we were going to find out that she was pregnant once he died, and then she was going to like use that to get Tamlin back or something. I mean, to get Tamlin to like bring Rhysand back. So I was just surprised that that wasn't announced. And then, yeah, there were some things like Elaine and Lucien, that was like a major loose end. And the one thing that I missed is that despite that we got to see some new courts, we got to go to the Autumn Court and we got to go to the Winter Court, they were so quickly like glazed over.
Kind of like ran through them.
Yeah, like we didn't get that description that we really got in the first two books about the different courts. So I really did miss that because I just love the world building. I think that's why I love like Prythian so much, is just because it's such like a beautiful and well thought out world. And I just like really wanted to know more about those two courts. And I'm sure that we will find out about them in the future. But I just was like, why not? Like, why not tell me more about what these courts look like?
Right? Like, does the Autumn Court have pumpkin spice lattes?
Yeah, I would think so.
I would think so. I think they have pumpkin beer too.
Definitely. Did you notice any similarities between ACOWAR and other series?
Ooh, other series. The Rhys dying thing definitely reminded me of The Rose and the Dagger. Like, that was very reminiscent of that.
And Harry Potter.
Harry Potter. Not my daughter, you bitch.
No, but also with him dying, like when Harry.
Oh, yeah. It's like kind of like there's no, like, you know, they're not going to kill Harry Potter. You know, they're not going to kill everyone's book boyfriend.
Mm-hmm. I think also there were like little things that I noticed that are things that are like some fantasy type things that you see in other books, but some of them were like very close to other things that it just bothered me a little bit. One specifically was when she said that like Feyre will bow to no one. I was just like, she says that about Selena. She's like copying her own other series with that.
Oh wait, I forgot that thing we talked about, Game of Thrones.
Yes.
Yes. Rhys and Feyre was like, I am mine, or you are mine and I am yours. It's like, that's right from Game of Thrones. They say that all the time.
Yeah, like I just felt like certain lines were just like lifted completely from other series. And I was like, but the most shocking to me was the I will bow to no one, because I was like, that's like on so much Throne of Glass merchandise.
Well, what was the most recent Throne of Glass book? Queen of Shadows?
No, Empire of Storms.
Oh, Empire of Storms. Like, I was like, this is very Court of Thorn and Roses, Court of Mist and Fury. It's like a secret wedding and they're mates. And it's like, huh.
Yeah.
Okay, you had a secret wedding and your mates. That sounds really familiar.
There was something in that too that was like extremely Harry Potter that I was like, whoa.
I think it was, yeah. Like she was fated to die or something from the beginning, sort of.
Yeah, I can't remember. I'll have to go back and rewatch my review before the next one comes out.
Okay. Oh, you mean the next one, the Cal novel that no one wants?
Yeah, but apparently now like you have to read it in order to book. So
I don't want to.
I know I don't want to either, but I'm going to.
She did this. I would have gladly read it if Cal didn't suck like he does now, but she did this to herself.
At least it's not as long as the other ones.
It's good. 200 pages, I'd be okay with.
Yeah. What characters do you think will be the focus of the next book set in the world of Prythian?
Ooh, I don't know. They left so many things open. Maybe that lady who's cursed to be a firebird. That's a possibility. Or it might be a prequel because we didn't hear Miriam's story. Maybe it'll be about her and the prince. But I hope it's about my friends.
So I saw an interview thing, like, because Sarah J. Maas has been touring for ACOWAR, so somebody filmed like a little bit of her conversation before she did like the book signing, and she was saying that she can't tell yet, and she was like, but she's like, there might be like a book that's a prequel, and there might be a book that takes place afterward, and then a little bit later she was like, I definitely have 2 of the 3 books planned. And I was like, well, that definitely means that one of them is a prequel and one of them is afterward then, because you just like said that. I'm really hoping
about all their kids.
What?
Maybe about everyone's babies.
No, about Lucien and Elaine.
No, about their babies.
Well, I think that it'll be them. I'm hoping that it's going to be Lucien taking over as the High Lord of the Dawn Court.
And Rhys and Feyre can visit.
And then I'm curious about how they're going to do the prequel, because I feel like we've learned so much about Miriam's story already that I don't necessarily want to read a whole book about it. Because
the only reason I thought that might be happening is because there was a part where like, we have to tell you our story, but that could be for another time. And I was like, ugh, okay.
Yeah. But I also just felt like they like have told us so much about it. And I guess like it could be different, but I feel like there are just so many other characters that I care more about that I would rather see. Did you find any evidence of the world of ACOTAR being connected to the world of Throne of Glass?
You asked this question, and I read it, and I'm like, I bet Kristen knows the answer to this.
I don't. I definitely don't know the answer.
Oh, okay.
I want them to be related. Are
there any internet theories?
So there's one review that I watched by Piera Ford, who is another booktuber, and she talked about like one line that the bone carver said that made her think that it's possible that like maybe Aelin's child had some kind of problem and wasn't able to beat like one of the bad people. I forget who it was, but that it was possibly that, and that maybe Prythian was like the rebuilding of the Fey world. So it would be like this taking place after Throne of Glass, which is interesting because I don't know why, but I kind of always thought that Throne of Glass would take place after.
Yeah.
For the Thorns and Roses.
No, I agree. Like I was like, oh, maybe it's a Middle Earth thing where like Prythian is the precursor to.
Right. Like there was like all the stuff, and then magic was kind of frowned upon and eradicated and everything, and then Aelin is gonna like rebuild everything back up.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but I really do want them to be related. I know that as soon as I got my my pre-order incentive map, I was just like comparing the 2 of them, and I was like, are they the same shape? Could this be the same place? Like I was looking at such a great twist. Yeah. So that's what I'm hoping for. Now that you've read ACOWAR, are you confident that Sarah J. Maas will be able to construct an epic ending for Throne of Glass as well?
I think it'll be epic.
I think so.
I think she can do it. I think it'll be epic.
Yeah.
I probably won't love it as much, but it'll be epic.
I was definitely nervous because this is the first series ender that we've gotten from her. Everything else has been, you know, like leading up to it. So now that I've read this and I loved this, I feel really good about Throne of Glass, but still mad about the Kale novel. How many stars did you give to Akawar, and would you recommend the series to other readers?
18,000 stars out of 5. Yes, I would definitely recommend this series, especially if you are a fantasy buff and you like when good things happen to good people. Eventually. You like when good things happen to good people eventually.
Yes. I would agree. I gave Akawar 5 out of 5 stars.
You gave it 18,000 out of 5 stars too? That's amazing.
Yes. I would definitely recommend it to like anyone. I think it's such a great series. I loved it so much. And now, so we didn't talk about a lot of like the typical book club questions that we talk about because there was like so much to cover that went on in this 700-page monstrosity. So we thought it would be fun to do like a lightning round of some questions. So we're going to do
lightning round.
Yes.
I didn't do this on purpose.
Okay. So we're going to just like go through some questions really quickly so that this book club isn't like 2 hours long. So what moment made you sad cry the most?
When they killed the Suriel.
Oh, mine was when I thought that Rhysand was dead, but that was also...
No, the Suriel got to me way more because I knew Rhys was going to be okay.
I didn't. What made you happy cry the most?
When their dad showed up with all the ships.
That was a good moment too. Mine was when Rhys came back to life because I thought he was dead. What was your favorite scene?
Oh, that's so hard. I love all the reunion. I really loved that. She like drops to her knees. She's just so happy they're back together.
Mine was the meeting with all of the High Lords.
It was good too.
I just loved seeing all of them. And then what was your least favorite scene?
Tamlin.
All of the Tamlin scenes.
Every time we had to see Tamlin.
I had one in my head and now it's escaping me. And it's supposed to be a lightning round. I feel like that's why like I'm under pressure. So
stressful.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go with Tamlin scenes, and then if I think of what it was afterward,
just scream it out. Just
yeah. Who was your favorite character?
Rhys. Did I pick another one?
You can pick a second favorite too.
No.
Okay. My favorite is also Rhys, and then second to Rhys would be Lucien. Who's your least favorite character?
Ianthe. Why is this so hard?
Mine too. I really thought you were going to say Tamlin, but she was worse than Tamlin in my opinion.
No, she was worse.
Oh, okay. You know what my least favorite scene was?
Yes.
No,
I don't.
No. When they went back to ask Elaine's mortal fiance to like house the humans, and he was just telling her like that he hates her and that they're never getting married and all that, because that was just like really painful to read. I felt so bad for her.
Angry that they went back there. I was like, why are you doing this? This is a terrible idea.
Yeah. What ship were you the most invested in?
Well, we know my main one, but they're good. So Lucien and Elaine. I just wanted them to be happy and make babies.
Mine is obviously Feyre and Rhysand, and then second to that would be Nesta and Cassian. And how would you rank the books in order from favorite to least favorite?
Ooh, see, I've been thinking about this a lot, and it's really hard because I really loved A Court of Mist and Fury, but I really loved A Court of Wings and Ruin. And I don't know. Probably A Court of Mist and Fury, A Court of Wings and Ruin. Last place, A Court of Thorns and Roses.
That's also my ranking. And I thought that was so funny because I remember when A Court of Thorns and Roses came out and I read it and I was like, this book is so good. Nothing could be better. And then I was like, when Akamoth came out, I was just like, how is this possible? Like, it makes me feel like A Court of Thorns and Roses was like not that good. And
then when you reread it and you're like, just get to the good stuff.
Yeah, it took me a little bit to get into when I was rereading it because I was like, are we going to be like in Prithian soon? Like,
I don't care about Tamlin. Just
yeah. Okay, so is there anything else that you want to say before we like wrap up and tell them what our...
Read this book. I love it.
Yeah.
Also, this wine was okay.
Oh, okay.
That's good. I don't know. I can't drink a lot of it. It smells of coffee.
That's interesting. So before we go, we are going to tell you what our June book is. And it is another really giant book. Neither of us have it yet because it's not out. But we are going to be reading Lord of Shadows by Cassandra Clare, which is the second book in the Dark Artifices series.
Artifices?
Yes. Artifices?
I've been saying artifices.
Artifice, whatever. It's like one of those. And yeah, Lady Midnight is the first book, so you're going to want to read that, Cassie.
And I'm going to get to it next week.
Yes.
Sunday.
Love it. You're going to have to text me while you're reading it. You'll probably read it just as quickly as you read Aquawar, honestly.
And Kristen and I, wait, hold on. Kristen and I pre-ordered lovely UK editions that look similar to this Lady Midnight version.
Yes, Waterstones has the limited edition. I don't like the look of Lord of Shadows as much as
No, this one's prettier.
That one's a lot better. The second one is like gray and it has a different.
I think it's the colors. It's like gray and like silvery.
Yeah. I'm hoping that it's silvery. It looked like flat gray.
When is it coming?
Isn't it? It's like gray and then navy blue, I think.
Oh, yeah. When are we getting it?
I don't know, but it's coming from Waterstone, so it's probably going to take a little bit.
Okay.
But I also ordered a copy from Amazon so that I could read it right away.
Okay. I'm probably going to get a Kindle version while I wait.
I wouldn't be surprised if I do that too. Okay, so yeah, that's all that we have for this book club. Cassie, let us know where we can find you online.
Oh my God, we forgot to do the thing where we told people to use the hashtag at the beginning of the show.
That's literally in my notes too, to do when we start the show. So
I was like, no, it's too late. Okay, so you can find me on the internet as Yerkmonger. I'm going to spell that for you. YRCHMONGER. My haunts include Goodreads, Instagram, Twitter sometimes. You can follow my book blog, Bibliomantics. And you should join our Goodreads group, Spines with Wines, where we will post the times and such.
yes.
And the books and things like that. Just things.
Yeah, we can even start up some discussion threads if people want to talk about it, like as they're reading, or let us know any questions that you want us to discuss during book club. I am Kristen, Super Space Chick. You can find me here on this channel. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram as Super Space Chick or Goodreads, and also on my own personal blog, which is superspacechick.com. And I write a lot of like full book reviews on there, and like weekly wrap-ups about life stuff. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So we will see you guys soon for the Lord of Shadows.
Sometime in June.
Sometime in June. Probably toward the end of June because Cassie still has to read both books and they're long.
They're like 8,000 pages.
Yeah, but they're worth it. They're so good. So yeah, that's all that we have for this book club, and we'll see you guys soon. Bye.
Bye.